Now we are moving forward to our next presenter. It's Amnah Ajmal, Group Executive Merchants Acceptance and Digital Partnership from Mastercard, and she's leading digital and cultural transformation in consumer banking and payments industry by innovating customer experience across several markets in Europe, Middle East, Asia, and North America. She also manages end-to-end operations of consumer bank, currently head of merchants, digital partnership and strategy. So her thoughts will be on digital transformation and partnership with fintechs. So she's already here with us. So let's welcome Amna. Hi, Amna, can you hear me?
Hi, thank you very much. I'm here.
Thank you so much, Amna, for joining us. And it's an honor for us to have you as a keynote speaker and to learn from your experience and expertise. So you can start your presentation now after sharing your screen.
Sure. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yeah, I can perfectly see it. Yeah, you can start your presentation now. Good luck. Stage is all yours now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here on a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, digital transformation and partnership with Fintechs. Can you see my slides moving? I just want to make sure before I start clicking. Serena, can you see my slide moving? I assume you do. Okay. So I start off with this slide because a digital transformation, financial services can be boring. So I try to make a connection to music industry. A lot of us here would know the unique relationship that these two objects have enjoyed. Our future generations would never know about it. So when we look around the digital transformation that has happened in multiple industries, music is a very interesting one, and we can draw great parallels to it. The music started out very simple. It then transformed into public because it was all about attending music in a public forum and enjoying it. Then it transitioned into social, and you would get together with your friends and enjoy the music. And then cassette came, which was a very cool innovation because you could listen to your favorite music any place, anytime, all by yourself. And then came the disc. So the cassette disappeared and discs took over. And then the need of music was still there, but it evolved and the technology also evolved to meet that need. And the cassettes, the discs, they all disappeared and it was all wired onto your phone. And then it became wireless. So what does this teach us? If we look at the music industry now, we have Spotify. And the innovation is driven by the belief that the music is social. And music has truly become social, but guess what? It started as social too. It's just that our context is different now, and the technology is enabling that experience. So the need, the what, is the same. People want to consume music socially, but the how has changed. It's important to focus on the how to drive digital transformation as opposed to the what, because the what that you are offering may be the same as many other companies are offering, but how you deliver that what is matter. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that the products matter much less, the consumer journey matter much more. So how that product is consumed is what makes a difference. Let me take you to another industry, the car industry. If you look at the transportation industry towards the end of 19th century, a revolutionary new technology was introduced. And it was assumed that like the internet, it would take the economy by storm and the whole culture would change. This was the horseless carriage. Unlike today's cars, this machine looked exactly the same as the horse carriage, except it did not require a horse. And guess what? It was a big failure. It was a big failure till an innovator placed a fake horse head on the front of a horseless carriage and he called it a horsey, horseless carriage. And this worked for a lot of people because no matter how much more efficient the new carriage was, people wanted to hold on to old ways of transportation. Getting people to adapt, which we now think of cars, required a huge mindset shift, even though they were such an efficient means of transportation. While there are many drawbacks in the horse carriage, people were just so comfortable with horses. This brings me to my second perspective. Changing perspective is a very important part of innovation. The fast paced world that we live in today has many processes, business lines, and products that are like the horseless carriage. We are aware of an alternative, but we're just not certain how to make that change for ourselves. So imagine owning horses and barns and realizing that they won't be used for transportation anymore. It's scary. A lot of people today are scared of artificial intelligence the same way because technology changes and transition can be difficult. What is important is that we see our business from an outside perspective. What I mean is from an outsider perspective, which is the customer. Seeing businesses and products as a customer see and experience would help us drive that transformation in the digital world. Another very interesting example is evolution of the phone. If we talk about the telecommunication industry, America's short-lived cell phone experiment did not lead to the widespread use of mobile phone. It was a very niche product that appeared only to a small number of consumers in one particular city. In fact, Motorola's then director of research, Marty Cooper, who just 8 years earlier had made the world's first ever phone call through a cell phone, quoted that cellular phones will absolutely not replace landlines. Even if you project it beyond our lifetime, it just will not be cheap enough. Can you imagine in today's world thinking that we could live our lives without cell phones? So a customer can't ask for something that they don't know yet is possible. For innovation to work, we have to understand the customer is not always right. That's simply because they do not have the context to imagine that better, simpler future. They do not have that context, they do not have that information. So a customer cannot ask for something they don't even know is possible. We couldn't have asked for mobile phones. We couldn't have asked for a camera on a mobile phone. We just didn't know this was possible. Which brings me to my very favorite quote of Henry Ford. And let me also connect this to a few other industries that we see around us, right? Think for a moment about the most special person in your life, your mom. Remember the saying, repeat it all the time. Don't accept sweets from strangers. Don't go to strangers' house. Don't take a ride with strangers. Isn't it time to unlearn everything we have learned? We are living in strangers' houses. Airbnb, we're taking rides with strangers. All the ride-sharing companies which allow you to share rides with strangers. We are entrusting strangers with our most valuable possession with our very own lives, welcoming them into our houses, dropping off our pets, dining at people's home for those experiences. So we can't possibly ask customers what they want. In fact, what we need to do is think of if you're talking about an existing product, great, ask the customers what modifications they want. But if you're talking about transformation, if you're talking about disruption, the old school traditional way of a research where you go to the customers, you ask them what they want, then you design a new product, you spend millions of dollars in designing that product, then you go and do a marketing campaign for it. By the time you've done all of that, consumers have moved on. We live in the world of APIs. We do not need to hard code and do tons of research before launching a product. In fact, we need to think about problems and solutions and simply think about our products as to what problem are they solving. Exactly how we would solve a problem in our lives. And after solving that problem, there is no need to invest a lot of time in taking that product to a market. Because today's world allows you, from a technology perspective, to do real-time testing by giving that product in the hands of your consumers and take their feedback real time and modify the product real time. That's super powerful. The technology did not enable that as recent as a few years back. So we need to leverage that when we're thinking about digital transformation. Which brings me to my point, don't ask customers what they want. Solve the problem, build it, design it, give it to them, and take their feedback. Digital transformation is a very big word, and it has lots and lots of things to it. I mean, it's overwhelming. But I like the code, which is see it big and keep it simple. We need to think about the practical steps that we can take to drive digital transformation in our industry. I would talk about key steps that, from my perspective, are important. First is platformification of services. Now, we can argue that the transformation from products to experiences is only possible if the infrastructure and backend supports it. Today, in most industries, including financial services, we have individual product silo systems. And because of those individual product silo systems, there's an inability to have a singular customer view. Banking as a service is a very important and unique concept of our times, and it can be only delivered through platforms. So think of it as platforms which are each managed individually, but can be swapped in and out like a block of Legos to create different experiences that you want to give to your consumers. Now, this modular platform technology setup, it allows us to accelerate and innovate because we can test, fail, learn, and quickly get the products to market in weeks instead of months. And with this kind of speed and flexibility, technology becomes a true game changer to drive innovation. Then we can use these platforms to define consumer journeys. For example, if you want to change the consumer journey of account opening, you have to make sure that the end-to-end journey is digital, meaning you are not opening an account digitally, but at back end, some person is making this application go through the entire process and being handed off manually. Your platforms work to empower that consumer journey. You're no longer an individual siloed product systems. This way, we can deliver agility at scale. What do I mean by that? So the from and to picture is very clear. We do not need to completely transform our back end and have a very expensive infrastructure replacement cost. In today's world, there are many fintechs which are operating an orchestrator, or for the lack of a better word, a middleware, which can sit between your core systems and your front-end channels and can reduce a significant amount of work that you would have to do to replace all these core systems. And it can integrate with those standalone systems, harmonize the data, and then generate the customer journeys to talk to your front end. This transformation is extremely powerful, and this is required for you to deliver on your digital transformation. So that would be the first thing on my list. Second, I would talk about is personalization. Most traditional organizations think that customers do not like to be bothered by communication, email or SMS or in-app notification. The reality is that if your message is well targeted to the individual at the right time, right place, and has a compelling experience of fulfillment around it, there's nothing more powerful than connecting with your customers. Because until recently, the standard practice was to define the product experiences using pre-configured rules, leveraging data and demographics. While this method was cutting edge 10 years ago, advances in cloud infrastructure, machine learning, and AI have far surpassed what was possible in the past. We can determine consumer patterns in real time. We can deliver real-time personalization at scale. The fact that people are constantly switching between their devices, it means it has been never harder to hold customers' attention. So we have to be very smart about it. I would give you an example of myself personally. When I was living in the US and I had my first child, my life changed. And I did not dine out for a total maybe period of 10 months or so. And I was constantly watching Netflix in my free time and not really dining out. And my bank sends me dining rewards multiplier. It's a complete lack of context and it's just not relevant for me. But at the same time, when I was buying my house together with my mortgage, I got furnishing information and offers on my credit card. That was relevant. Such a small impact action can have a huge impact. BCG estimates that for every $100 billion in assets, we can achieve as much as $300 million in the revenue growth only by personalizing consumer interactions. That's how powerful this is. You can go a step further and you can start personalizing even the message and the creative content. Now, you may think this is extremely hard for traditional financial organization because of the legacy systems and because of the way data warehouse is structured and because of the way we communicate with our consumers. That's where the collaboration between large financial organizations and fintechs comes into play. Because today there's so many fintechs which are offering personalization that a simple SDK and API integration can really empower you to drive personalization. And that's where the marriage between a fintech and a financial institution, traditional one, is very, very powerful and compelling. My third step would be digitizing the service channels. I mean, 10 years back, when I was a banker and I was running a cards business in Europe, I wanted to understand what my customers were saying, just to make sure that I listen to them and modify my products, take their feedback and change my processes. I would listen to a sample of 50 to 100 calls a month. Guess what? There were 100,000 customers calling us every month. It was not possible for me to listen to more calls than 50 or 100. Imagine, today we can listen to 100,000 customers who are contacting us through any channel, and we can listen to what they're saying, analyze, make patterns out of it. How powerful is that? How is this possible? Because your servicing needs to be digitized into bot AI-based servicing. And many fintechs offer bot-based digital servicing end-to-end. You don't have to change your core systems for that. You have to make that investment so the chatbots become smarter and smarter, and AI can be deployed to read those patterns. So digitizing your service channel definitely is a very important part of your digital transformation roadmap. The fourth point I would say is much more cultural than technology related, but it's about designing the process and product with the end result. Many times we forget about the problem that we're trying to solve for and try to protect the existing processes and product, even though the problem they're resolving actually has disappeared. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. We don't have to automate the service in a contact center to save costs. Saving cost is not the end goal. We have to think about what was the end result of the original idea of a contact center at a bank. It was happy customers. So if you want happy customers, won't we make sure that they call the contact center, that they're not taking their time to call? So you would look at those chats which are coming through digital bot servicing, and you'll fix your broken processes. You will actually enhance your products so that customers don't call, right? So the idea is not to design the processes to keep the contact center cost low and the contact center staff productive. The end result you want to achieve is happy customers. So design the process around happy customers. Happy customers mean they don't even have to call you for anything. So digital transformation isn't about launching new products and new marketing campaigns. It's very much looking at the existing processes that exist today and rethinking them. So going back to my transportation industry example, if the end result was to provide for faster transportation and no ownership, that's how the ride-hailing companies were born, right? But imagine if the end result was to provide for transportation, then horse carriage was good enough because it was providing for transportation. But we moved to car because we changed the end result we wanted to achieve, which was faster transportation, which horses could not provide. So we need to start thinking about the processes and products with the end result that we want to achieve and then challenge that. Um, Before I go to the fifth and the last step in digital transformation, I tried to Google the word technology, and that will be my last message. It comes from two Greek words, techne, which is art and craft, and logos, which is word and speech. Driving digital transformation isn't about technology or science. Actually, it's an art. It's an art of driving agility, creativity, and art leaders exercising humility and asking why. Because there is no formula for it, there is no science behind it. This is what technology is all about. Which brings me to the last step of digital transformation. My favorite author, Paulo Coelho, drives a very critical point about digital transformation in one of the short stories. Um, I also posted about it on the LinkedIn, the longer version, but in short, a Zen Buddhist had a cat which he loved very much. So during his meditation classes, he kept the cat next to him. He passed away, his disciple took his place, and as a tribute to his master's memory, he allowed the cat to attend the meditation. As people from other regions came, they saw the cat and they told other people how the cat was meditating. Until a master appeared who was allergic to animal fear and asked, "Why is the cat there?" And he removed the cat. And professors started writing about a new theory, which was the power of meditation without a cat. Another century passed by, and all those theories disappeared. People were tired of feeding the cats, and people got rid of the cats. Guess what? It took 2,000 years for that change to happen because no one asked, why is the cat there? If we need to drive digital transformation in today's time, we have to challenge the status quo. We have to ask why this product exists, why this process is still there. And your ideas may be considered crazy by those who think the cat should always be there because the cat has always been there. That's the last message I would leave you with. Ask more often, why is the cat there? Thank you very much for having me, and I hope you enjoyed the session.
Hi, Amna. Thank you so much for your wonderful session, and it was really a very informative session. I'll ask the audience that if they're having any question, they can ask you in the chat or in the QA session. Can you hear me? Hi, Amna. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes. I'm sorry, I
Okay.
didn't think you were asking me.
Okay. So I'll ask the audience that if they are having any question, they can ask you in the chat. And uh, you, Amna is here to answer all of our questions. Thank you so much, Amna, for being here.
Thank you.
Have a great day.